Today we have an all-time legend with us, the 1997 Toyota Supra twin turbo. This car is an icon in the performance world, but we're going to see how it matches up against a vehicle with half the cylinders, half the turbos, but twice the gears. Case, what is this?
This is the GR Corolla, Toyota's best new hot hatch. And what are we supposed to do when we've got a quarter mile and two performance cars?
We're going to find out. Can a 3-cylinder single turbo beat a 6-cylinder twin turbo from the 90s?
The 1997 Toyota Supra 15th Anniversary Limited Edition embodies high performance in more areas than just straight-ahead acceleration. World-class technology and refined dynamics have been designed into every inch of this exotic machine. And whether you choose the normally aspirated Supra or the turbo, either model will get you off the line with eye-widening swiftness.
Very midnight club.
Case, I feel so cool right now. So this is a 1997 Toyota Supra twin turbo, and this is an exceptionally rare car because it is basically completely stock, except for an aftermarket catback exhaust. The engine, the transmission, the drivetrain, fully stock, which is super cool.
And like you said, becoming harder and harder to find. Now, one interesting thing about both of these cars that puts them, I guess, more so in line with each other is the fact that this is the newest Corolla. This is why Toyota sent it to us, because this is the Corolla with the new 8-speed automatic transmission. What about you?
Well, this Supra has the factory 4-speed automatic transmission. So when we heard that Toyota was going to send us a new automatic GR Corolla, we wanted to find an automatic Supra to put it up against, and our buddy James has just that, the super clean, all-original car, this Mark IV. Now let me walk you through some specs. Under the hood is the legendary 2J engine. It's a 3-liter inline-6 with 2 turbos strapped to it, 320 factory horsepower, 315 pound-feet of torque.
Whereas I have a 1.6-liter 3-cylinder, so like we said, about half this, well, half the cylinders and about half the displacement, but I have 300 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, and the fact that my transmission is an 8-speed and this car is all-wheel drive is all going to be to my favor.
Now we're going to do a couple of different tests to see the performance difference between these two. The first test, we're just going to put it in drive and flat foot the car like you might if you were potentially trying acceleration test on a stoplight, right? And then we'll try some brake boosting and some launch control and that kind of thing. But I'm going to go drive, traction control off in this 97. What are you going to do?
I'm going to do the exact same thing and we will see how they compare.
Here we go. In the 97.
Oh, it's slow launching like that.
Got off the line a little better than that GR.
But I pull away from Tommy. Oh, no, he's keeping up when he gets into the top end there.
There goes the 2 big turbos that really hit hard, about 5,200 RPM.
You might even start pulling on me here. No way!
And 90, oh, it's close!
That Supra's got some top end, but not enough. Oh, good job, Corolla. Definitely, if you're not brake boosting and doing launch control, the launch is pretty sluggish.
So we are at a mile above sea level. That is definitely going to have an impact on performance. We also don't use rollout with our Solo DL performance timers. That was a 1639 at 96 miles an hour.
I think my car is a little lighter and a little quicker to get on boost, but that's got some top end.
Dude, it really moves over 75. So I ran that, let me get the exact time, 1639 at 96.
Yeah, I got a 1604, but at 94.4 mile an hour. So trap speed was higher. If that was a half mile, you would have been gone.
Let's see what happens when we add some boost to it and some launch control.
Looking for a special one-of-a-kind gift for the classic car lover in your life? Check out the limited edition V8 collection of watches from Rec Watches.
Rec Watches is what happens when a bunch of classic car nuts from Denmark get together and start a super cool watch brand. To date, they have done watches from recycled metal bits off of a DeLorean, a Lotus race car, and even an SR-71 Blackbird.
Their high-end V8 series timepieces take a bunch of styling cues from the classic pony cars of the 1960s. The chapter ring takes inspiration from Shelby Mustang racing stripes.
The stitching on the strap resembles an old muscle car interior, and there are design cues taken from hubcaps and even the taillights of an old vintage Mustang.
List price for one of these watches is $895, but if you pre-order one now, you'll save $200 off the price. Go to recwatches.com or just click on the link below and get yours today.
All right, guys, so I'm here with my buddy James.
Hey, Tommy, how you doing?
Hey, it's good to see you, buddy. And this is your 1997 Supra. So talk me through the history of this car, where you found it, and why you bought it.
Sure. So the history of this car, it's a 97. It's a twin turbo, but with an automatic transmission. It lived most of its life in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
I bought it on Bring a Trailer 2 months ago.
And why did you buy an automatic twin turbo? I mean, I'm not trying to disparage James, but like, what's the thinking there?
You kind of, with these, you kind of buy what you can get, and then you make it into what you want it to be.
Okay.
Obviously, everybody loves the manual. I prefer the manual. My other cars before this were manuals, but I mainly wanted the blue. I love the tan interior. It's got the correct wing that I like for these cars. So this has been my dream car for 30 years, and minus the automatic. So we'll sort that out one day.
You'll get it sorted. But the thing about Supras, right, is when you can find one in a condition like this that hasn't been totally messed with, that looks good, that has a nice interior, that runs well, like you were saying, like you can't be super picky anymore.
Right. And the nice thing about this one for me, I like blue cars. We've had my other blue cars on you guys' channel. This car was originally green, and the owner had it, parked it outside in Austin, Texas for years, and it just cooked the green paint. And he decided at some point to repaint it blue, which helped me from an auction perspective, because a lot of the purist guys are like, oh, the car needs to be repainted green. I actually wanted it blue, so
cool.
It helped me out.
So walk me through what it's been like owning this Legend. Has it lived up to the hype and the dream?
Well, it lived up to the hype. It's interesting. The attention it gets is amazing. The really nice thing about it up here at elevation, right, we're at 6,100 or so up here. At elevation, the turbos really help to keep the powertrain relevant, as opposed to, a car that didn't have the turbos back in the 90s and was okay, but then, now when you get it up here at elevation, plus 30 years, it can't quite keep up. So the turbos are really cool. You hear the first one, you feel the second one, is what I've been finding with it.
Case, I'm genuinely amazed by how well this old gal picked up her skirt and just boogied off.
Yeah, and for the race after this one, for the roll race, I'm going to be interested to see how it goes, taking the launch out of the equation. But speaking of the launch, this race, you're going to brake boost. I'm going to actually use launch control on this GR Corolla, so our launches won't look so pathetic as the first race, just stepping on the gas and not doing anything leading up to it.
I mean, I think one thing that was cool about that last race is we really got to see the benefit of the twin turbo, right? The sequential with the small turbo and the bigger turbo, and how they do their thing. But that was super cool.
Yeah, this race, I don't think this one's going to be as close.
The owner tells me the quickest way to drive this car, stick it in drive, and then just let the transmission do its thing at full throttle, which is what we did in the last race. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a brake boost, and we'll see what happens this race.
Tommy's doing a lot of talking over there. What are you talking about? We just got a straight stretch of pavement and two cars. Let's go.
Oh, much better launch, but so did that Corolla.
Oh, look at that. Just like last time. Pull right ahead.
There goes that second turbo. Wow, when that thing really hits, you can really feel the transition from the first to the second. And this car is super slippery.
Good job, Corolla. It's so weird to say that in a drag race.
Come on, Supra!
And once again, he's staying with me there. but I don't think that was as close. Let's see what I'm at. Wow, and the temps really jump up on a run like that. So now I'm now.
Buddy, how was that for you? So my trap speed was the same, 1550. Well, my trap speed was the same, 94.4, but a 1555. So 5/10 that I picked up.
But my temps shot up to 216 on the oil temp and 214 on the transmission temp from that one run. So it really puts a lot of heat in the driveline.
It's pretty impressive that that tiny 3-cylinder boosted engine can do what it does, but the downside of that is, I mean, you are really pushing the limits of what that little car can do, right? Where this Supra, especially with this automatic, it's kind of under stressed. You know, 320 horsepower out of this 2JZ GTE, but people do 800 horsepower right on these with stock internals, so this is a super under stress drivetrain.
I ran 15.8 at 96 again. Same trap speed, a little quicker off the launch.
You know, that little GR Corolla is an impressive little car, and you know, where everyone's going to say, oh, you can't drive it. What you got to remember, folks, is when you subtract rollout, the fact that we are at over a mile above sea level here, you can easily subtract a second and a half from what we're getting to get a better understanding of what it might do, you know, closer to sea level with rollout. But yeah, this Supra, really, even though it's almost a 20-year-old car, it really punches above its weight class. Now, James, what are your plans with this car? Because to see one in this shape is pretty rare, but are you going to keep it in stock configuration?
Yeah, for the most part. I added an exhaust because the stock exhaust is so quiet. In terms of like going crazy on the power or anything, it's not my goal. I have a blue car problem, as my friends say. So, you know, I mainly just want like a nice blue. I've never seen a blue Supra before. You know, just a nice car to take to the car shows and to drive the wife to dinner and that kind of thing. So yeah, no, I'm really looking to enjoy it as it is. Took it to the mountains last weekend and kind of canyon carved a little bit.
Nice.
It did pretty good. These cars weren't always known for their handling. They're more kind of a straight line car. It did pretty good. I've replaced the suspension. The front shocks were pretty worn, so I redid the suspension all the way around. I tried to keep it stock height. I didn't want to slam it too bad. But the suspension and the new tires and all that stuff really brought it to life versus, you know, when I brought it home and there were a couple things that needed to be sorted.
So James is kind of an interesting person to talk to because he is a all-out car enthusiast and he's owned a bunch of kind of the JDM icons. Like he had an S2000 for a long time, an NSX for a long time. How does the Supra compare to like an NSX?
Well, there are small things about this car that I kind of have grumbles about. The roof, the top mechanism. So this is what they call a sport roof, which is the target top. The NSX, the roof was better. The process to release it, this requires a little Allen wrench tool. The way it mounts in the back trunk area is kind of rattly, you know. So I just take the roof off and leave the roof off all the time. But this kind of looks like a Grand Tourer. The NSX is really more kind of purely built sports car. I would say of the two, objectively, I love the attention that this one gets. This one gets more attention than the NSX. I had people that, hey man, nice Corvette, you know, with the NSX. Yeah, right. Where with this, everybody knows what this is.
Right. Yeah, no, that's cool. So the last question I have for you, James, is these cars now are expensive vehicles. I mean, this car in this condition is easily worth as much, if not more, than a new Supra. Is it worth the money?
For the attention and for reliving your youth, I saw one of these when I was 19 years old. It ran away from me at 100 miles an hour and my car had no power left. And that day cemented, I remember it like it was yesterday, cemented in me, I have to get one of these. And that's what I did. You know, is it worth, you know, what's the cost of reliving your youth?
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it, to your point, I'll never lose a dime on this car.
Right.
Right. It'll always be worth as much, if not more, than what I paid for it.
It sounds like if you did want that manual experience, there are options out there to convert
yes.
it.
Yeah, it's a very common thing with these cars is, you know, people, again, you buy what you can get. If you get the non-turbo version, you add a turbo. Right? If you get the automatic version, you switch it to a manual.
That's funny.
It's a very common thing, and for what I'm seeing, pretty much you don't lose money when you do that shift. Where with a lot of modded cars, you kind of lose money with the automatic to manual conversion on these. It's pretty much break even because pretty much everybody wants to do that to it, so they're going to price it into the cost.
Cool. So then, Tommy, is it now time for the 30 roll?
Oh, you know it, my friend. 30 roll. Let's see what happens.
What's going to be interesting here is that your older automatic might be a little slower to get you into the ideal gear, but we're taking the launch out of the equation, which means I won't have the same advantage that I have had necessarily, and the extra top end you get from the 2J might make a difference.
Well, I'm wondering for this one if we shouldn't go ahead and actually stick it in manual mode and manually select a gear. I think that would be kind of a cool comparison.
Sounds good, I'll follow your lead.
The one thing I will say about driving the Supra is the manual transmission is a little dim-witted. All right, there's 30 in 3, 2, 1, go. Full throttle in the Supra. Oh, it upshifted even manually a little bit too soon.
Hold him off! Hold him off, Corolla! Come on!
Oh, but I'm gonna get him! Come on, Supra, it's neck and neck!
Oh, this is close! This is real close!
90 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour, 100 and it comes so high! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh man, when you get this turbo on boil, it really does perform. It is super impressive. Now I did, even in the manual mode, it's still like, I don't know, it kicked in a second a little bit too soon, so I probably could have passed them a little sooner than I did that time, but yes! Yeah, Supra!
Could you tell?
I think I won.
I think you might have.
I got a longer nose.
Yeah, that helps.
That's what did it, yeah.
That straight six sticks out further.
Exactly, I got more length than you do, yeah. But dude, that's about, these two matched up realistically are about as close as you're gonna get.
Yeah, and two, I think the roll race is almost more real world.
Sure, right. And the thing is, Case, this car is fantastic. The automatic is extremely dim-witted.
Yeah.
Right? And being able to kind of take that out of the equation and just focus on the engine and the powertrain makes it a little bit more fair.
With both of these cars, if you want the funnest version, you would get the manual. And it goes without saying that that engine has infinite tuning potential. So
yes,
we're testing stock for stock.
Right.
But it doesn't even need to be said that, yes, of course, you could turn that Supra into an absolute monster.
100%. So, Case, I think neither of us predicted how close this race was going to be.
I definitely didn't, because in your head you hear 4-speed automatic and you don't really think that that's going to be able to keep up with this. But the top end in that car, it does more on pavement than you would think it would just by looking at it on paper.
That's exactly right. I was blown away with what a Mark IV Supra can do in stock form. I know like these cars are legendary, they have a pretty legendary status, but even 30 years later, it's very impressive, especially up against this new 8-speed all-wheel drive hot hatch.
And if this race down the strip were any longer than a quarter mile, or if you breathed any air of modification on that powertrain, this would be a completely different story.
Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. This has been Tommy.
In Case.
Head over to alltfl.com for more real world reviews.